Hi all, welcome to my channel, welcome to my world, this is the world away. Today I'm going to be doing the next 4 stages of the Hachette Partworks release, a build the German U96 U-Boat. So I've got stages 73 to 76 here, and there doesn't, always the famous last words, look much to do today. I know we're going to be starting off with the engine room deckhead, so I have got parts for that somewhere around here. I'm going to need to find them. If you do want to get this for yourself, I have put a link in the video description, and there's also that QR code on the screen. But without further ado, let's get cracking. You'd think I would have had these ready. Okay, so there's the little bulkheads that we've made in the last pack. Let's see what we're actually doing today. We're going to be starting, as I said, with the engine room deckhead. So everything is in this pack here. And we've got sprues aplenty, which means I am going to need my sprue cutters. Now, if you want to know exactly what I am using, I did do a video yesterday. I put it on the channel yesterday, just showing you all the glue, sprue cutters, pliers, everything that I'm using. I have put a link to that up there. So the first thing I want to do is cut off these wheels from this sprue. Now they're all the same size, so I don't have to worry about what's what. And these are going to be going into the locations here, here and here. So get my glue ready, bit of glue on these, and I'll drop these into position. Now the shafts of those wheels should go all the way down like that. Okay, we've got some fuse boxes now, so I want to take the one that's at the end just here. That's going to go in position there. Let's get that put in. Taking the more plain one, I glue these. I'm only gluing these sides here, just so you can see. That's going to go below it. And I've got the next fuse box going into the hole just here. And finally, the last one is just going to go on this side over here. So there you go. Put that to one side. Better put the lid back on my glue before that dries out. And now I want to take out these 2 halves of the silencer. Once again, it's just going to be a tape, and once again it's going to be a case of just putting some glue just on the leading edge of this, because I'm about to attach these together. Just like that. And then I want to put some glue on the tabs at the bottom here and here, because these are going to go into the 2 holes just here. Just hold that in for a second. And there you go. Perfect. Put that to one side. And I want to break off all of the pipes from this sprue now. Now these pipes are going to be attached to this detail just here. That's this oil fuel line here. Just get some glue just on these 2 tabs. Goes in this side here. There you go. I want this pipe here, which has got 2 tabs on. Some glue on them. That goes into the other end, into the 2 slots here. So that is now like that. Some pipes here on a grey sprue to cut off. So one of them, this smaller one here, I'm going to be putting some glue just on the tabs at the bottom here. That's going into the 2 holes on top here. Just like that. I'm going to be taking this larger pipe here and the bulkhead again now. Once again, get my glue just onto these 2 tabs here. And this is going to go into the lugs here and here. Hold that into place. So that's how that's looking. The next lot of pipes I've got, again, glue just on the bottom. This is the grey one here. This is just going to go underneath that. So that's in there. And then what we created here, I'm going to put some glue just around the outer edges here, because that's going to go on top just here. All I've got left is this air blower now to go in. It's got a tab just on the back here. It's just going into the position just here. And with that in, that's all there is to do in that stage. Not many sprues in the final 2 stages here, but in stage 74, we got hundreds. So let's get these out. And the first pieces I need are attached to this sprue here. So I'm just cutting all of these off the sprue. And first thing I want is this silver detail just here. Get some glue on the back. That's going to attach to this detail here. This is the bevel peg and bracket D. So this is just a bracket. And now we're going to be building up onto this now. So I've got this larger dial here, which is going to be going into the center. Just over this keyhole pattern here, like that. And I've got the smaller dial going onto this point here, the red side facing towards the right. Quite a fiddly little section that, I have to say. Bring over this deck head here, and I want to put some glue just into this hole here, so that when I put this on, the shorter shaft here is going into that hole. So it looks like that. A lot more details on this sprue now. Okay, first detail eye. Again, glue on these tabs. First detail eye is just going to go into the position down the bottom here, just like that. H is going over here, that way round. E is going next to it, in the position just there. There you go. This long detail here, which has got a couple of tabs at the bottom. 1, 2, said a couple, I meant 3. 3. It's going to go into these points here. 1. This one underneath this section. Perfect. 2 and 3. Definitely another case of we could have put that in before we put any of those other details in. By putting it in now, that's quite a hard little detail to get in, that one. That's just a power line, apparently. Just turn this way round, because I've got another power line here to go in. Again, let's just put some glue on these tabs. It's going into the position just here and here. Excellent. A massive pipe now to put in, which means I need to put some glue just around this end. Now this is only held in one place at the moment. It's going into the air blower here and passes underneath everything, so I need to make sure that that's lying flat there and it's kind of in position just like that. Like that there. I've got some pipes just on this sprue here. I want to take off the thicker, shorter pipe here. And I've got this longer pipe which is on its own. What I need to do is, with the longer pipe, put some glue on the end which isn't flanged. You see we've got a flanged end there. That's how that looks. And then on the other side of that wheel, that's when I'm going to be taking this shorter one now. And that's going to go in again with a non-flanged end into the wheel just there. Not the easiest thing, but there you go, that's in. Just put that to dry to one side. And I want to take out the longest of the pipes now on this sprue. Bit of glue just on this flat end here. And that's going into the point just on the pipe just there. This is going to be a fiddly one to get in. That looks good. Take the last pipe off this sprue. And in a similar way, just some glue on the flat end. That's now going into the other side here. The challenge here is to ensure that when you put these in, these are kind of straight. Not the easiest thing to do, but there you go. All I'm going to do then is take this LED cable. I want to post this LED through this hole here, so it's coming out the other side. So you can see it there, in the middle of that. And I'm going to label that up with an L3 sticker. Now I was left with one detail here that I was like, where's that go? That's going underneath this box just here. It's like a slanted slope there, but it goes in like that. But that is all there is to do in that stage. What a very detailed stage that was. Now we are left with bits that we haven't used, which is mainly this that we created here, some cabling, and I'm not quite sure what this is, but we've got this piece here as well. Okay, stage 75, very quick stage this one. Look, we've got a motor. Get this open. Now this is a motor for the Periscope. So just going to be putting this label just onto the thicker or the bigger plug at the end. And then this small plug here will just fit into the circuit board of the motor. And that's all there is to do in that stage. So the last stage of this pack is stage 76, and this is the navigation periscope. Looks like a whole mechanical section, this one, so this is going to be interesting. It says I'm going to need some flat nose pliers, because what I'm going to need is this rack section here and a spring. And what I'm going to be doing is screwing this spring onto this rack here. Now I can do it by hand, I think. Hang on a second. Push down and rotate. I don't think I will need pliers. Look, I can do it by hand. That's not too bad. Till it's all the way in the base, just like that. In the other end of this spring, I've got a connector here, which I just need to break out of the plastic wrapper it's in. I'm going to be screwing that to the other end. So then that is all the way in as well. Not bad. Put that to one side. I'm now going to be taking this guide here, and we've got our very old favourite limit switches. Right. Once again, with these limit switches, I'm just checking all the connections are attached, which they are there and there. We're good. I want to have some BP screws at the ready. Okay, the first limit switch is on the black lead. And that's going to be going into the point just here. There is a locating lug to help us get this in. And I'll screw this in with one of these BP screws. Perfect. So that's going off in that direction. Now the red one is going on the other side, but the limit switch is going off in this direction. And again, a screw in there to hold that into place. So that's how those two limit switches should look. Okay, the next parts are going to be slightly fiddly. We've got two gears here. This chunky one and a thin one. It's the thin gear that I want. That's going to be going onto this section just into here. Now, what we want to do is when we put this in, we want the thicker end for the motor to be facing this cavity just here. In the other side here, I want to take this shaft and this larger gear, make sure that this goes over the top and fits all the way down into there like that, because I'm going to be engaging these two parts into that section there. All I've got to do then is close that off by putting this side on over the top and holding it in with 3 CP screws just from this side. Now that's going to hold all of this together. So as you can see, that's one unit. This can spin. I'm going to be engaging the motor now. So grab the motor from the last stage here. That's going to be going into this section here. So we want it this way round with the port facing upwards. You might need a little bit of pushing to get that in, but in it will go. That looks pretty good. Now I'm holding that in with BP screws. They are the thin black ones, remember? And there you go. That's into place. All I want to do then is what I want to do is bring this part up now, and this larger gear that we've got is going to slot into the position just there. With again, the cross section, the larger cross section coming out the bottom. I want to put the rack on top of that. So that's going to go on there, and it's engaging that motor at the bottom, as you can see. Ensure that this goes this side of the bracket just there, because what's going to happen is it's actually going to be going up the ramp here through this point just like this here. As you can see, I've threaded that through. Then I need to close all of this together, which is going to be the interesting part. But that's gone together okay. Then I want CP screws just to hold this in. So one at the end, one slightly further down here, one just on this side, and then finally one just at the end here. I then get to put the top of that periscope just onto this section here. It sort of clips on just like that, so this can actually rotate, as you can see there. And then this massive section we just created is going to go on the top of all of this, passing that through here so that the motor of this is pointing towards the end. Line it all up, get this into place here. And then I want 4 CP screws just to hold that down. That's quite a feat of engineering there, wasn't it? Now, we don't want to test this yet. The reason we don't want to test it is because the limit switches, even though they're installed, aren't attached to anything. So it's not going to tell the motor when to stop. So what will happen is if I put power to that, the periscope will either go up or down. But it will then just try and break the gears as it hasn't got a clue that it needs to stop. So let's get this last screw in here. And obviously the way these limit switches work is you've got this long plastic shaft in the middle, and that's what's engaging each of these limit switches here. But with that in place, that's all there is to do in that stage. That's all there is to do in that pack. You know, I do find it fun that when I do these packs, there doesn't seem to be much to do, and then I come to do it and there's absolutely tons to do. So I enjoyed that today. Lots of fiddly details and bits of electrics as well. So a bit of a kit caboodle. We did everything. Anyway, I really hope you liked that video. If you did, please remember to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please remember to subscribe. Other than that, take care.